Hello everyone, my name is Michael Milam, and I'm doing a presentation today on consumer expectations in stores versus online. The reason I found this to be interesting to me is because I actually run a business of my own, and it's e-commerce based right now. And after I graduate, I will be pursuing that business full time, and I'm considering adding in retail stores, either potentially my products into existing retail stores or starting up my own retail store in a small, like a mall space almost. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what consumers expect in these two different environments because they really are very different. And right here, I just have an example. These are two different things from one brand. There's an online example on the left there, the e-commerce example, and then on the right there's the store. And that store is actually Orvis. I'm not sure if a lot of people have heard of it. It's really like high quality outdoorsman, outdoorswoman, I guess, too, brand for people that enjoy like fly fishing, and they have a lot of products for dogs also. So just kind of seeing how they're just looking at their stores real quick, just seeing how they try to change your experience in the store versus buying online is more you just go on there, buy something and then you leave. You're not really going for the experience. All right. And so my big question for the entire project, for the entire paper, is have consumers changed their shopping expectations since the rise of e-commerce? We all know that e-commerce is a pretty new thing relative to history. I mean, in our lives, it seems like it's been there almost the whole time. But for a lot of people, they have not had this ability to buy things online and have them shipped to their house within a couple days. So it's pretty special to our generation. And this whole presentation and paper, I'm going to be looking at like why why would somebody choose to go shop for something online versus in a store? And then after they do decide to purchase that product, what kind of expectations are they going to have? Like, are they more likely to return the product? Are they more likely to write a review? Are they more likely to spread the product via word of mouth? Are they more likely to share it on social media? So all these different factors of the e-commerce world versus the in-store world, and I think that there's a lot to look into here. So the first thing I kind of looked at was this trend in, retail stores closing. So a lot of people say like, wow, big retail stores are just not going to survive anymore, and it's just going to be like little niche, sellers and little small stores that are going to survive. And this trend I've kind of seen right here. So as you can see, like big stores like Macy's, Sears, Kmart, Sam's Club, Toys R Us, Rite Aid, and Payless, they all have an extreme amount of locations closing. So if you see, I mean, there's 600 Rite Aids closing, which is actually kind of it's kind of confusing because Walgreens actually bought Rite Aid, so they're closing a lot of locations that compete with their Walgreens, but they're also converting some of the Rite Aids into Walgreens also. But you can see here, there's just all kinds of stores. So a lot of people would be like, okay, so maybe it's just the big box retailers that can't make it, right? And then I followed up with that and I looked into it a little bit more, and it's not true. So these are also some stores that are closing up shop. Gymboree, which is like a children's store, Gap, J. Crew, Michael Kors, Guess, Lane Bryant, Loft, Crocs. So these are all like pretty specific stores. I mean, they're not selling, they're not like Macy's where you can buy a bed, or you can buy, like a set of linens and also a pair of shoes. These are pretty specific. If you're going to Michael Kors, you're going to buy whatever. I mean, they sell jackets and purses and whatever, but they're pretty specific stores versus those other stores that have a lot more general. So even these niche retailers are also having a hard time surviving. So this is kind of the sentiment right now in the world. A lot of people are looking at shopping more as a chore than it is, an activity or even a benefit to their life. They're looking at it more as a chore. So 40% of people are agreeing with that statement, and 60% say they disagree. And there's another interesting thing. I don't have it in the slides here, but I think it was 20% of people said that they would rather wash their clothes than they would go shopping in a store. So it's kind of funny, but it just shows that a lot of people really hate shopping in stores now that they have other options. So some of the advantages that I've found that people have listed. So in stores, people see the advantages of shopping in stores. Some examples are the ability to see and feel an item, kind of test out what they're buying and not necessarily just buy something based on pictures. They're immediately ready to use it. So you go buy something in the store, you walk out, and you can use it. There's no wait for shipping or anything. Increased certainty of fit, just like the first one, kind of, they're able to actually try the item on and they don't have to worry about returning it or sending it back and forth using the mail. And that's kind of a pain. I know a lot of people don't mind doing that, but it is kind of a pain. And then there's this term called showrooming, which is where people just go to the store to look at products and then they end up buying them online. So that's another advantage of just going to the store. A lot of people see it as supporting the local retailers. So even if it's a business that's not necessarily owned by a local company, you're supporting like local jobs. If you go to Target, you're supporting all the people that work there a little bit. And then, especially if you go to like a local store like Lucky's or something, you're supporting a local company. People also see shopping in stores as like a social activity, going to the mall with your friends, that's like a American pastime, kind of becoming more and more pastime as we speak, but um, that's something people, fill their time up with. And then also the customer service level that you can get in some stores is pretty much unparalleled versus, calling into a service center online. So some of the benefits people see online is a lot of lower price opportunities because uh, there's so many different competitors like right then and there. Whereas if you shop in your hometown, there's not that many competitors. The online stores are always open, the 24/7. Doesn't matter when you go, you can buy something, even though you're not going to get it right away. It's still open. You can get that off your mind. I needed to buy something. Okay, I got it. Don't need to worry about that. There's no travel involved for you. You don't have to, leave your house. You don't have to put on your shoes. You just buy some online, wait a couple days, and it's there. It's easy to compare products. So with a lot of options, also comes a lot of comparison, and people kind of enjoy that. I feel like sometimes I personally do not, but a lot of people enjoy comparing all the products online and choosing the best option. Um, there's a lot wider variety of items, so you need something in a specific color and a specific size. You don't have to worry about the internet running out of that item unless it's completely out of stock everywhere in the world. You're probably able to find it. Whereas in stores, I have like a weird size waist versus length on pants, so it's really hard for me to find pants sometimes. But online, it's almost never difficult to find pants. You can also view customer reviews. So there's a lot of people are incentivized to leave reviews online, and people like reading them. So that's a good way to get a better idea versus in store, you just kind of base it off of how you feel about the product. There's really no way to tell what everyone else is saying about it. And then also, there's just a lot more information available on products. So people go on YouTube to look at unboxing videos of products and just reviews in general of all kinds of makeup products and all kinds of just different clothing products. Also, you can just kind of see what other people are thinking, and then also just more information on like the materials or what that company is doing beneficial, like their mission or purpose. Um, but a lot of people say, oh, well, I only go to stores to see, feel, and try products before I buy them online. And that's true, but you also look up a lot of things online before buying them in stores. So we talked about that term showrooming. There's also this term called web rooming, which is kind of the opposite, and that means that you oftentimes will go online and look at a product before you actually buy it in the store. So right here it shows 68% of people have intentionally browsed products at stores and then decided to buy them online, whereas 70%, actually more people, have browsed products online and then decided to buy them in store. So I think this is an interesting trend to look at, and I will look into that a lot further because there's got to be a reason why so many people still look at stuff online and then they choose not to buy it online. So some of the different expectations that I've noticed. So the most interesting one, this is kind of what inspired me to look at this in the first place, was the return rate. So as you can see here, 9% of people return products that they bought in stores versus a very high 33% of people who return products online. And I feel like people are more likely to return products online just because they kind of feel detached from that company and they don't really have like a reason to keep that product. They're just like, oh, well, I got this in the mail. I didn't really experience anything from this brand yet, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. And then also in store, people expect a more prompt service, and then they also they also just kind of expect to find the product that solves their problem. So like if you just have a small little thing you need to fix or something in your house, you're not going to go out and try to seek the best solution necessarily. You're just going to find something that solves the problem. And then a lot of the fancier stores have like concierge service, which is kind of just high level customer support. And a lot of brands that are, outdoors brands, they also have like very knowledgeable, they have knowledgeable employees in there that can really guide you if you're going to buy, I don't know, something for hunting or whatever. There's going to be a guy there that's very passionate about hunting and guns. So there's a lot more consistent customer service in stores, and people also expect that. They expect no matter which Macy's they go to, they expect similar customer service. They also expect to find the items easy. So a lot of stores that are poorly organized really frustrate people. So looking into store design and organization of your store is very important because customers expect to walk in, find the item that they need or want, and then walk out. And then the new thing that's becoming a trend that's kind of blending the two together is this in-store pickup idea, which is where you can order something online and then you can just walk in the store and pick it up, usually at the front of the store. So this is kind of a blend between the two, and I guess we'll just have to see how this trend picks up. I think grocery shopping, a lot of people will resort to this because a lot of people they buy the same groceries every week. So why not just keep that shopping list saved online and then order and then drive to the store, pick it up real quick, and then leave. You don't have to walk around the store and pick up products just like a robot. So the online expectations are a little bit different. So people obviously they're returning more, like we said earlier, and they also expect better call service um, like times. Sorry about that. But the exact product that they desire is almost always necessary. So if you're going online to find something, you almost always want that product that you're looking for. You're not really gonna be okay buying something else. I think a lot of people they definitely go online, and if something out of stock or something isn't the color that they want, they're not going to buy it. They're just going to wait for it to come back in stock. Unlike a store where sometimes people have to just buy something real quick to solve the problem. And then also online, people you want to find unique items. So websites popping up like Etsy and even like Amazon has a handmade store. Like people want these unique items that are hard to find unless you're in like a small town and you can go to like a small handmade store. And then another big thing that I've noticed from my business and from just reading about other good e-commerce business practices is having a website that loads quickly. So this was kind of a problem for me for a couple months. I noticed people said my website was very slow and it was not loading quickly. And I found this interesting thing that for every 6 to 10 seconds that the website takes to load extra, your conversion rates go down by like nearly 50%. So it's really important to have that fast loading website. And some stores, I think with Amazon, they even said that for every 100 milliseconds, they expect the conversion rate to go down pretty significantly also. So even like minute little numbers like that are making a difference. Also, people buy products online, they're expecting to have a longer decision process. So sometimes people, they get an advertisement for something, and they look into it a little bit, and then they come back a few days later, and then maybe they come back another few days later, and then decide to buy that product. Unlike stores where you walk in, buy something, walk out. So there's like this longer process of buying, and it's kind of changing the way that people think about products and their consumption habits. They kind of slow down and take a minute to think. And then also this 2-day shipping trend. As you can see, Amazon kind of kicked that off a few years back, but now all kinds of companies are doing that, like Walmart and Target. I know they're also trying to compete on this 2-day shipping. So here's some good examples of unique customer experiences in stores and some things that some reasons that I think that e-commerce might not necessarily overtake retail completely because of things like this and innovations that these brands are making to bring people into their stores. As you can see up in the top left, there's an example of Nike. This is actually a store in New York City that they just built. I want to say it's like 10 stories or something crazy like that, and each floor is for a different sport. So like this is obviously the basketball floor, and they have like hoops you can shoot in and dribbling drills you can do on the floor to test out the shoes. It's kind of I don't know. I think it's kind of cheesy, but I'm sure people really get a kick out of it, and they like going to the store. And also, there's also a floor with like shoes for running, and then they also have like a line of treadmills you can run on. There's a soccer field also on one of the floors that you can kind of kick around and test their soccer cleats and everything. And then on the top right, there's Eddie Bauer. So Eddie Bauer is an outdoor store. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it, but anyway, they have this cool concept. I think this is actually in the Easton property too. This is in Columbus right here, so you can go check this out one day if you want. It's called the Icebox though, and people can go in and test out their jackets to see if they really think the insulation works well. I think this is also a cheesy idea, but it's just something like you could see this guy's walking out with a smile on his face. It's just something fun to do. It's a little bit different, you know. It's something interesting and kind of funny. Down in the bottom left is like a Guitar Center or a I forgot the other name of the company that sells guitars, but Sam Ash, store like that where you can actually go in and test out the guitars. I mean, I think this is kind of key for especially instruments because they're so feel based. So a lot of people like to go in these stores and just kind of hang out and play the guitars, and then end up coming back one day maybe to buy the product. And they have such an interesting feel here. I mean, it feels like a recording studio with all the wood, and it just kind of invites consumers in rather than buying something online. And then the bottom right is REI, which is kind of a conglomerate store of all kind of outdoors products. And right here you can see in the middle of the store there's a huge rock climbing wall. So that's pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of people have got a kick out of that, going shopping and then also just using the rock climbing wall. Brings in a lot of consumers. So in my opinion, I don't think retail is dead, and I have to look a lot more into this trend, but I think that there's something to say about all these companies that are investing in expensive retail stores like Nike and like that Eddie Bauer store. So I think that there's definitely a trend in the bigger stores shutting down, but I think that the small stores, in order for them to stay alive over the e-commerce, is to really build a unique experience and make something that is much more than just buying a product. Um, so yeah, I will be looking a lot more into this, and I'm excited to wrap up the semester with this exciting paper. Thank you for listening, and have a great holiday.